Guys, it's Khaki. I am making this video today to share with you some of my must-haves before and after any kind of weight loss surgery. I'm also going to share some things that I bought that I haven't used and that I felt like were probably a waste of space and money. Of course, these things are what I used and what I think I really needed and what I think I didn't. Everyone is different, so I'm just going to share my perspective with you today. The first thing that I absolutely really relied on prior to surgery in that 2-week liquid diet that my surgeon required, as well as my post-op period, was broth. Now, I didn't just use the store-bought broth or just plain chicken broth or beef broth. I went to Pinterest and I found several different types of broth recipes. I found a lemon Greek chicken broth, a beefy tomato broth, I can't even remember, an Italian chicken broth, a lemongrass chicken broth, a pork broth. These things, these different tastes during that period when you're so reliant on broth and liquid really got me through. They gave me some variety in my diet, and I don't know what I would have done without them. In the 2 or 3 weeks before my liquid diet started, I went on a cooking spree of broth using these recipes. And I had bought these things that look like ice trays. Each well was 1 cup. I made tons of broth ahead of time. You put these trays in the freezer, then when they're frozen, I popped them out, put them in gallon freezer bags, and labeled it. That way, when I was going through that, everything was ready, just popped it in the microwave. I highly suggest that if you are pre-op or in that immediate post-op period, you do that. That was just a lifesaver to me. I have other friends who just bought store-bought chicken broth or beef broth, and it just drove them crazy having to drink it over and over. So that's definitely a must-have. Another thing that I really relied on is a notebook that I got that I could take notes on when I went to my appointments, when I watched videos. The one that I chose, which I'm going to insert pictures here of the things that I talk about, the one that I chose also had pockets so that I could put the handouts from my surgeon and dietitian in them. Also had like tabs so that I could label individually, from the dietitian. I also listened to YouTube videos from different programs to get kind of an array of information. Being able to have a place that I could go to find all this was really invaluable, and I still use it today. Another thing that I really highly recommend is get a good tape measure. You're going to want those measurements throughout this process. Take your measurements before you start your liquid diet. I found a tape measure on Amazon that I'm going to put a picture of that was very inexpensive and made it easier to take your measurements without any help from anybody else. It kind of hooks after you put it around, and then you can take it off and look at the measurements. So that I really recommend getting something like that and writing it down or putting it in an app. Also, take lots of before pictures and as you go through this process. There are days when you think that you really haven't done a whole lot or that there's no big change, and looking back at those pictures really helps. The other thing that was a must-have for me was YouTube. Before I made up my mind to get the surgery, I scoured YouTube for people's videos who had been through it. And as I went through the different stages, which I'm almost 3 months post-op, I would watch videos of those who were a little bit ahead of me to see where they were and to kind of know what to expect. So, I recommend, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, whatever platform you like, find videos of people who have been through it and learn from their experiences. Sugar-free popsicles were a lifesaver for me. One of the ladies in my program said in that post-op period, sugar-free popsicles can keep you out of the hospital from dehydration. My favorite is the tropical flavors. I'm going to insert a picture here of those. I love them. It's one of the few sweet things that I can tolerate now. It's fruity, so it's not like chocolate or cloyingly sweet. But in that pre-op and post-op period, it's been invaluable, and I still eat at least one a day now. It's just a nice treat. Also, sugar-free Jello, don't forget that. I did buy, I made my own broth. I scoured for those, but I did buy the little pre-made cups of sugar-free Jello to have on hand. Now, moving into the immediate post-op in the hospital, GasX. Had to have it. After the surgery, most of my pain was either muscular, just felt like a lot of sit-ups had been done. The other thing was pressure from where they fill you up with gas. Walking was my biggest help after that, but also GasX. I took it to the hospital with me because they don't have it there to give to you. So I highly recommend taking that. Also, I did get a heating pad. I saw a lot of people recommend that, and I would highly recommend it as well. Didn't use it for any kind of surgical pain or abdominal pain, but I still use one almost every day for back pain. After you have surgery, you can't take NSAIDs anymore. So I found back pain to be a little bit more challenging post-op. So I'll put that on a pillow and sit up at night when I'm going over, things from work or social media, prop up against it, and it gives me a lot of relief. So definitely get that. Also, I did get some use out of an abdominal binder. I have a friend who went through surgery about a month before me. She wore hers for almost a month to give some extra support. I just wore mine right after, for that first week afterwards, but I did feel like it really helped. Also, a grabber. I could not bend over and pick up anything. So I didn't think about having a grabber on hand. I mean, they're like $12 to $15 at Amazon. Thankfully, one of my sisters had one, and I could borrow hers until I got one. I needed it for probably a couple of weeks, but it was really valuable. It was really a must-have for me. Also, Miralax. My program wants you to start taking Miralax every day, 5 days before your surgery, and then for probably the couple weeks post-op, and then as needed. I still do have to take something. I don't take Miralax. I take a prescription for that, but it's much easier to prevent a problem than after surgery have one and try to clear it up. Also, little 2-ounce condiment cups, which I'm going to put in a link to, or a picture to rather. When you first start back being able to eat again after your post-op liquid diet, well, my program had a 2-week post-op liquid diet. Those were the perfect portions. I made the ricotta bake, put that in those cups. Refried beans, chicken salad, tuna salad. Made it ahead of time, could just grab it, and I knew exactly what a good portion for me was. Still use them to put things like dressing, that kind of thing in it now. Big must have, find a water bottle you like. This is mine. I do better with a smaller one. For some reason, it's harder for me to tote around one of those big, 60-ounce ones. This one holds like 20 ounces, so I fill it up 4 or 5 times during the day, but keeps things cold. The main thing is get one you like. I like the ones that have a handle so I can just carry it around with me, but makes things a lot easier to get your water in. I did also get some tumblers that were insulated so that when in that post-op area, when I was eating my broth, I could just put it in those and kind of carry it around, and it stayed warm for me. So, that's not necessarily a must-have, but it was very nice to have. Did use an immersion blender, which I still use. In that immediate post-op period, any soups, in that immediate post-op period, any soups had to be pureed. So like a vegetable soup, anything that had any kind of chunks in it. Also making the mashed cauliflower that's a lot like mashed potatoes. I used it, still use it on a regular basis. So that's a nice thing to have. They're not expensive, so it's not a big investment, but I think it was something worthwhile to have. Also, going to put a picture here up, freezable muffin cups. I think that really helped me in that post-op period. I made like turkey meatloaves, various little recipes, meatballs, cooked it in those, and then, was able to put it in the freezer to freeze those individual portions, then pop it out, put it in a Ziploc bag, and have an instant portion without having to, worry about it or weigh it or anything. Now, having said that, a good scale. Your program will guide you on what they want you to have at one time as far as ounces of protein, but I couldn't do without a good scale. I have a scale at my office. I have a scale at my house. I have a scale at my sister's. I mean, I just think that, it's not an obsessive thing in that, oh, I have to weigh everything. But you don't know what you're, especially I tend to underestimate what things are. And I want to make sure that I'm getting what my body needs. So having that, big deal. Less than $10 on Walmart or Amazon. Now, one thing that I highly recommend, and I think every program does too, is little utensils. I got these on Amazon. I think it was like less than $8 for 8 of the little forks and 8 of the little spoons. Really helps slow your eating down. As you know, after you have surgery, if you eat too quickly, it can cause pain. Things pile up at the entrance to your little pouch, causes pain. This slows you down. I also got these plates. You can see the size of them. For my meals, I got these at Dollar General. I think they were about $5 for 4. Then, when you have small portions, and here's little cups, this is what I put the more, stew, things like that in. Perfect size for that. Got those at Dollar General too. When you are eating what to us is a large amount, but in actuality is a small portion, and you have regular size plates, it just kind of gets lost. So I think having those little plates is really valuable. When I first started the journey, I got some off of Amazon that were wheat straw, I think it was called. They were really small little plates, but I found they stained a lot. So I still use those for cold things that aren't going to have a lot of liquid to them, but don't use them anymore for heating things up on or serving hot foods like my turkey meatloaf and that kind of thing. Now, also going to put in a picture, vitamins. Find a vitamin that you can tolerate. I'm going to put in a picture of what I take. Everybody is different. This may or may not be what you can tolerate, but I really like this because it has everything in one, and it's a capsule that absorbs, or that the outer coating is gelatin, so it's made for bariatric patients. It dissolves quickly so you can get the nutrients inside. My dietitian also recommended I take a B complex, which I'm going to put a picture in. I recently started taking B12 injections as well, but that'll be up to your team. But this is what they recommended for me. I think most programs also recommend 12 to 1500 milligrams a day of calcium post-op because we can absorb it as well from food. Going to put in a picture of calcium chews that I take 3 times a day. I love the taste of these. There's no weird vitamin E taste. They taste like Starburst. So I stocked up. They had a sale around Black Friday, which I had my surgery the day before Thanksgiving. So I bought like a 6-month supply. So I'm going to put a picture in of those as well. Now, things that I didn't need as much that I thought I did. Here again, this is just me. This is probably an unpopular statement, but one of those Ninja Creamies. I bought one and it just took up space. I found that after surgery, sweet things make me terribly nauseous. I know a lot of people take their protein shakes and make them into an ice cream type concoction. Tried that, one or two bites, didn't work. So I ended up giving it away to somebody who I felt like would appreciate it. So it takes up a lot of counter space. At least for me, it wasn't worth it. The other thing that I bought that I haven't used is a little chaffle maker. You see lots of folks making chaffles. For me, they didn't do anything for me. Using like the almond flour that most of the recipes call for, got a lot more fat and fat than I wanted. I found a better option for me for everything that I wanted to put inside something were the low carb tortillas. That fit into my plan a little bit better. Now, here again, a lot of people enjoy them, but that was just for me. Last thing, a shake blender. I bought a Ninja blender. I'm going to put in a picture. I think I have used it once. I like the Fairlife shakes I like the strawberry, the salted caramel, chocolate, just the way they come. Here again, a lot of people like the powders and put in their own flavorings. I've gotten to the point where I only drink a shake 2 or 3 times a week. And I just get the store-bought, the ready-made. So for me, just wasn't worth the investment. Still have it in my cabinet. Now, the other thing that's not something you can purchase that I have relied on heavily are my friends and family. I shared with my family and some of my friends and co-workers, before I did this, the changes that I was going to have to meet or make, the support that I needed, and they have certainly come through. It's been wonderful. I'm going to put in a picture of my coworkers, some of my dear friends, my family, my husband, my sisters have just been invaluable to me, and have relied on them a lot for their support. My friends, as I've said in previous videos, I have a friend group that we go out often, and I kind of insulated myself immediately after surgery until I felt like it was a healthy thing for me to do, to go out again. And when we did, they wanted to make sure that we went somewhere that would have selections that I could eat. They even, were cautious about eating things in front of me I couldn't have, although I assured them that didn't bother me. Go ahead. I've got this. My coworkers were the same way. So, if you have a good support group, rely on them. Reach out for their help. If not, and I've also done this as well, online support groups, the Facebook groups, they have been such a valuable resource. And in addition to those family and friends and coworkers, they've really helped. So this video just kind of tells you the things that I really relied on pre-surgery and up until this day, and the things that didn't. Here again, just for me, I would love to hear everybody else's comments. If I didn't talk about it, or if I did, things that you feel like you could not do without, and the things that you got that didn't really do much for you. Look forward to all of your comments. Have a great day. Thank you.